Good Breakfast Show.
Yes, a superhero's intro music. He must be a superhero, the right man to help us save the planet. All jokes aside, we are turning our focus onto the state of our planet today, being Earth Day, and some of the issues we are grappling with in environmentalism can be addressed by legislation, need to be addressed in such a way. Luckily, we've got the legal guidance of our friend and expert, our superhero-in-law, director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, who also happens to sit on the board of the environmental conservation NGO Greenpop, who of course we introduced you to earlier. So today the question is, I want to legally protect my environment. So now what?
So now what?
So now what?
Great question, great topic.
Does nature have any rights?
It's a very interesting topic, a very interesting question, and kind of differs all over the world, country to country, and it's an ever-evolving topic that we're looking at now. So in South Africa, no, the environment doesn't have intrinsic rights, or aspects of it do, but a lot of the way we look at the environment is duties that are on us as people to protect the environment. So if you look at our constitution, it's built right into the Bill of Rights. Section 24, we all have the right to a clean and healthy environment, and the state, the government, has the obligation to create laws in order to protect our environment. So they do that. There's land planning laws. You're not allowed to just build wherever you want. If you want to be building, you have to get environmental assessments. There's rules around natural resources like mining and gas, and these are managed aspects. There's laws around protecting conservation, and we have a whole legislative framework in South Africa called NEMA, the National Environmental Management Act, which says what we are supposed to do to protect our environment.
And we are blessed to have NGOs like Greenpop and a host of individuals out there driving this legislation, making sure that the government is being held accountable to protecting that. Are we protecting the flora and the fauna? Does it extend to kind of all spheres?
Yeah, 100%. So it's interesting. If you look at fauna like trees and plants, they are protected. Some are protected. If you ever see milkwood trees, you're not just allowed to cut down milkwood trees. They are protected trees. And if we look at something like the fire that happened, this terrible fire that happened this week, you know, what the city and what the country is supposed to be doing, and does in many ways, is to look after our environment in a way which stops it from burning down. So definitely plants and nature and the fauna is definitely protected. When it comes to animals, it's a super interesting one. It's one that's quite close to my heart. This was actually what I used to do before I was a commercial and startup lawyer. I worked in this field. So animals don't have intrinsic rights like me and you. We have the right to water, the right to housing. Animals don't have it. They're seen as property in the eyes of the law, so we own them. And the legislative framework is about animal welfare. So what do we have to do to look after our animals? So if you've got a pet or if you own a farm, there are rules that you have to do in how you treat them. But this can change and is changing in some places to give animals actual intrinsic rights, which offers them better protection.
Maybe this is more of an opinion than a factual answer that I need, because you have clearly a very good perspective on this. Are we getting it right in South Africa? Is the legislation here standing up to where we need to be, seeing as this is Earth Day and we're all looking globally at what we need to do to protect the environment?
For sure. It's a good question. Maybe the guys from Greenpop might be better suited to answer it. How we is it working? I mean, we can look around us every day and decide some things work really well, some things don't work well enough, and this is something which we need, you know, with everything in society, we need to address the things that don't work well. But the international point is an interesting one, because you can never look at environmental laws in a microcosm. Because if we pollute the air here, or if they're polluting the air in America or Europe, the air is polluted and it's going to affect all of us. More than that, conservation areas span borders. So if you look at the north of South Africa, we've got the Kalahari National Park, which crosses a border with Botswana. So countries do need to relate to each other in order to protect the environment. This is a global problem. Something like COVID is another example. If we have environmental factors, it's going to affect the whole world. So countries all around the world need to be making treaties. They need to be deciding on how to act together in order to make sure that, you know, the world doesn't burn and 100 years' time, whenever scientists say it's going to.
Yeah, exactly. That number seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Unbelievably interesting topic to look at through your eyes. So thank you so much for that. We're going to continue this discussion. We are looking at the laws and legislation as that applies to protecting our environment. Why? Because it's Earth Day.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
I don't know why I want to puff out my chest whenever I hear that intro music. Yep, the man is here. And we are continuing our discussion with our lawyer and good friend and director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, as he breaks down the legal ins and outs of how to protect our environment and our planet, being Earth Day. And he is being joined this morning by a facilitator and educator at Greenpop, Damien Hewitt. And of course, Greenpop, an NGO that's focused on the greening and restoration, if you will, of our environment and doing some amazing work. And you actually sit on the board. So you guys kind of know each other. You're in the hood, man. You know. Damien, I'm going to start with you. And thank you so much for sticking around and for kind of spreading the message that you are. I'm interested to find out what regulatory body you work under. What defines the work that you do? And how do you guys engage with, now that we know that the government essentially and the state is in charge of the laws that protect our nature, how do you guys engage with them?
So Greenpop is an NPC, which is a not-for-profit company. We also have a PBO status, which ensures that the work we do is in alignment with benefiting South African communities. We have worked with governments in the past, predominantly with the city parks in the greater metropole area on urban greening projects. And the Western Cape government have been key supporting funders in driving a culture of sustainable events in the Western Cape.
So do you get funding from that side?
Yes, for particular projects. And great support from the Western Cape government has been supplied. Also, we have a partnership with Cape Nature from an environmental education perspective on a couple of the restoration projects that we've facilitated in the past.
I posed this question to Eitan as more for his opinion than a legal perspective, and I want the same from you. Are we getting it right? Is the right kind of legislation there to protect nature, and what are the benefits for having, yes, we've got this will, yes, we've got great organizations and champions, we need the laws to back it up. What are the benefits for having the legal structure and framework to work within?
It's an interesting one. Human rights are so implicated in environmental rights. And, you ask what the benefits are. The benefits are going to come back to us. A healthy environment benefits a healthy society. Simple example, if we were to pollute a river over here that people relied on for drinking 200 kilometers downriver, we wouldn't only be damaging and threatening ecosystems along the way, we'd be threatening human health further down the line. So environmental rights works hand in hand with human rights. And we would be benefiting from a better structure with environmental rights.
Why aren't we doing more? Why are we not doing more? I'm sure this is the question that drives you every day of your life, but thank you for the work that you are doing in that space.
Thank you.
Maybe a good way to round this off is, what do we do if we feel like the rights of the environment in our belief are not being upheld? What do we do as citizens to inspire us on Earth Day?
Yeah, I'm going to pick up from what you're just saying. Why aren't we doing more is a great question, and it comes with so number one, it comes with an everyday culture, right?
Yeah.
Every time we go down to the beach, we see it covered in litter. Do we go and do we bring a bag with and pick up what we see? We don't, but maybe we need to start. You know, and I'm actually going to make a commitment. Every time I go to the beach,
I'm down with you.
I'm taking a bag with, and so it starts with the culture. We need to teach our kids. We need to teach people, the society around us, to love the environment, the importance of it, and that's the only way. Government can only do so much. It's up to the rest of us. Secondly, if you do see something going wrong, you need to say something. This fire that happened this week, they found the guys that started it, and it was because of a citizen that took his dog out for a walk and saw someone starting the fire. So with its eyes all around us. Also, I'm going to embarrass Damien. He's actually a volunteer firefighter and was out fighting the blaze earlier this week.
Man. Thank you.
So yeah, it takes everyday people like Damien and the people at Greenpop to plant trees, to do their bit. We all need to do our bit. Eat one less hamburger. Eat, everyone every day.
Stop using, non-biodegradable baby wipes.
Totally. Every time you go for a coffee, you don't need the lid. If every person makes 1 or 2 efforts every day to be better for the environment, then we have a chance of keeping this world for a little bit longer. And the third thing is lobby groups. So the way that legislation changes is where the government sees it's a priority to people. So join a cause, join something like Greenpop, be part of some organization which is pushing government in order to say, hey, we actually need more from you to protect our environment. So it's up to the government, it's up to us, and it's up to the organizations that are around us.
You might be a real-life superhero, dude. I can't believe you're a firefighter as well.
I didn't have an amazing intro song, though.
And over weekends, you nurture babies.
I saw him petting a little baby dolphin 2 weeks ago.
It's crazy, man. I joke about it, but I know it's hard work. I know you've got to be really so motivated to drive other people to get that momentum going. So thank you so much for your efforts collectively. That was a fantastic discussion. Hopefully you are looking at nature through slightly different eyes, but the bottom line is it's one and the same thing. It's our planet. We live here. So our rights are nature's rights and vice versa. We have to protect ourselves and our planet for future generations.
Yeah.